So I'm starting this walking out of the New York Giants bar here in San Francisco. Neither the Giants nor the Cowboys have inspiring teams. There's a driverless car waiting for me here right down the street. So I think I'm going to have to find a way to cross. Oh, great. My driverless car is blocking traffic. That's Aces, by the way. That is the New York Giants bar. And they're ready to explode, except for the fact that Daniel Jones didn't give them reason to. He can manage the game. He just can't win it. Decent numbers. That's great. But you need more than decent numbers to win a football game. Here's the car, by the way, right behind us, waiting for me. I'm going to sit in the front seat. They said that the doors would unlock automatically. Yep, they did once I got close. That's good. That's a new feature to these Waymos. Look, my initials at the very top. So we open, take off my backpack because I need to sit down in this car and say hello to Casper. I'm 6'5" and I can't fit until I scoot the chair back. There. All right. We're going to be moving here. This is going to be 49ers Intel as soon as we do get moving. Doors closed. They're going to yell at me if I don't fasten my seatbelt. All right. Let's go. Start ride.
Heading to Dearborn Street. Please make sure your seatbelt is
Cool.
fastened.
All right. So neither the Cowboys nor the Giants are inspiring. That's all I have to really say about that game. I mean, that was a fight to avoid 1 and 3 from Dallas and the Giants. And the Giants obviously did not execute that. The Cowboys did, but and everybody, by the way, seems to be getting hurt in the league. Micah Parsons got carted off the field late in that game. It's a battle of attrition, these NFL seasons. You can't get too discouraged if your team suffers an injury or 2 or 3 in the 49ers case, because other teams are getting hurt too. And it's ultimately going to be about who can weather that injury storm the best. But the Giants, I mean, we didn't suspect that they were any good, but we wondered about the Cowboys, coming off of a couple losses, obviously the big one to the Ravens the other day. Fraud alert for Dallas. I don't think that today dispels any of those suspicions from the Cowboys. They're not going to beat those fraud allegations until they actually do something, and winning by 5 against a very uninspiring Giants team certainly is not it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the quick little start there at the Giants bar. I was hoping if that place exploded with the Giants win at the end, I could go live for that final play, but obviously that was not in the cards. All right, so Casper's going to drive us home. I've got a few notes ready for you here to put to the bottom of the screen. For the 49ers, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, both of them are back at practice. So in case of Deebo, I think that might have surprised some people a little bit, just because he is supposed to miss 2 weeks, and he might still miss the 2 weeks. I think Kyle Shanahan initially said a couple weeks. So yes, that might still happen, but he's back at practice here before the game in the second week. So I do find that to be notable. Calf strain for Deebo Samuel, so perhaps he's going to be able to play against the New England Patriots. When we talk about George Kittle, I think with the hamstring strain that kept him out of practice at the end of last week, that was always more likely that he was going to be able to be back here for the game against the Patriots. George talked to the media today as well, so we'll see what his status is on Sunday. 49ers certainly would like to have both of those guys back, but if they only have one, they're going to have to be working against the New England Patriots team that has the number 27 defense so far by EPA per play. Patriots haven't been great this season. In fact, I would say that the 49ers and the Patriots have been polar opposites. There was a stat today. The 49ers lead the league with about 580 passing yards on throws that have traveled more than 10 yards in the air. The New England Patriots are last in the league with only about 80 passing yards on throws that have traveled at least 10 yards in the air. So Brock Purdy airing it out, dominating at the quarterback position. Jacoby Brissett is not doing that, but the 49ers are going to have to stop a Patriots run game that features a couple of running backs who are 220 plus pounds. I mean, it's really, really different from New England when we talk about their run game. They've got a physical, big, bruising run game that you don't normally see in the NFL these days. When you've got smaller backs, it's typically more of a speed game nowadays. And the Patriots obviously don't play that speed game all too well, because when you look at what they're doing with their offense, it's it's about 1980s football. It's about a 227-pound Ramondre Stevenson, a 228-pound Antonio Gibson, and then Jacoby Brissett just throwing short all the time. Again, the league low in passing yards on throws that travel 10 yards or more for the Patriots. So we just watched the Cowboys and the Giants, and we said neither of these two are inspiring teams. I don't really think the Patriots are either. So, I mean, this is one the 49ers have to win. I don't say must win unless it's technically a must win, but I'll say they have to win this because, oh boy, would we get a wheels falling off kind of vibe if the 49ers were not able to win this one. Driverless car just impressed me. There's a car that made an unprotected turn illegally in front of us, and we completely kept it safe. We let that guy do his unsafe driving without getting into an accident. So Waymo doing a good job. You can see here doing a good job. We could tell him good job, but unfortunately, he probably will not acknowledge us if we do speak. On the way back home, I'm going to try the old studio transition when we come home. And I shouldn't call it the old studio transition because I don't think we've ever done that. I'm going to try to stay on the stream, hook up to the camera in the studio, and go from there. But wanted to start in the bar, end in the studio, see if it was technically possible. And I think so far, so good. I think so far we're on our way. I'm looking at some comments. I can answer some questions because when we get into the studio, I want to talk a little bit more about Brock Purdy. I have a couple of videos to play of Brock Purdy speaking today at the 49ers facility. Here's a comment. Debo should come back only if he's 100%. 49ers are good with Jawan Jennings, JJ, JP, that's Jordan Mason, and Kyle Juszczyk. Also want them to use Conley. I don't think that the 49ers are planning to play Debo Samuel unless he's 100%. But maybe he is. That's the thing, right? And they could also just be working him back in. We shouldn't overreact too much to what's happening at practice. They could just be working him back in slowly and planning to bring him back that third week after the injury, which would be against the Arizona Cardinals. With this setup, I cannot flip the camera around. I was trying to show you guys City Hall, and City Hall is lit up in green, white, and red. Not sure why. That might be a flag color for one reason or the other, but we drove by City Hall and it looks nice. We'll be in the studio in about 11 minutes, so let's go ahead and put your questions there. 49ers throwback says Brock Purdy needs 278 passing yards to pass Jimmy Garoppolo to become the all-time leader in passing yards through the first 25 starts in franchise history. There you go. Brock Purdy's also number 2 in the NFL in passing yards. He entered this week behind only Dak Prescott, I believe. So a good chance for Brock Purdy to take the lead against the number 27 ranked Patriots defense. What's the scoop on McKivitz? So I think McKivitz is the worst pass protecting 49ers offensive lineman at that right tackle position. I don't think that's a secret. I think that they believe that he's the best option at right tackle. It's hard to find tackles, especially for this scheme in this league where the defensive line perpetually seems to be ahead of the offensive line. So 49ers are hoping that Colton McKivitz simply holds up well enough to allow Brock Purdy to function. And so far, Brock Purdy has been able to work in spite of Colton McKivitz. Now, there was a damaging play right before halftime against the Rams. That was tough. The 49ers were in a pass set, and McKivitz saw Byron Young beat him, and Byron Young knocked the ball out from Brock Purdy, prevented at least a field goal attempt from Jake Moody, and of course, every single point mattered in that game. Oh, is it Mexican Independence Month? Yeah, that's probably why. So it was the color of the Mexican flag. I wasn't sure if it was the color of the Italian flag because that one's got similar colors, or if it was the Mexican flag. So that probably was why City Hall was in those colors. Do I know if the 49ers bought insurance for Hargrave? And if so, will it help the cap? I'm not sure if they did specifically for Hargrave. That is something that I will check in on for you. The 49ers have bought insurance for some of their higher priced contracts. They did for D Ford, and the D Ford insurance did pay off for them. You could buy insurance against the salary cap. That's something that not a lot of people know. And the 49ers in a situation where they do have some older players, where they have had to roll the dice on some free agents on the wrong side of 30, where injuries I think are more likely, and who are also up against the salary cap with a real squeeze coming with Brock Purdy's potential new deal. It would make sense if they did indeed purchase some insurance for Javon Hargrave's contract. Roy asks, will the 49ers demote Bell and activate Terrace Marshall from the practice squad? I don't think that that's coming this week. I think they're going to give Ronnie Bell another chance. If Deebo Samuel can't go, if Samuel can go, well, then all of a sudden, then Ronnie Bell is out of the rotation. They love Ronnie Bell's tenacity blocking, and that is what earns the field under Kyle Shanahan. He made a lot of contested catches in training camp, and they think that he can play through this if they need him again. That's the vibe that I get from the 49ers. Again, you can't just expect random outsiders to join the system and get playing time over guys that have been in the system for a couple years. It's just not the way that the 49ers have operated. In general, it's just not the way that the league operates. But a guy has a bad game, you don't immediately think, okay, who's going to replace him? Just not the mentality that we've seen from the 49ers, and not the mentality that good teams have. I mean, they are trying to build, and they have, and they've already built it. They're trying to sustain a healthy organizational structure. And if you're constantly just hearing footsteps because of one bad game, I don't think that necessarily promotes a healthy organizational structure. You want healthy competition. You don't want paranoia, and you want to make sure that the whole body of work, including training camp, is considered. You want Hassan Ridgeway. That's a throwback name from a couple years ago. Hassan Ridgeway, yeah. I mean, free agency is easier to pick up a guy. I mean, they also saw Jordan Elliott carted off the field today. And Jordan Elliott was somebody who we thought might fill in for the 49ers at that defensive tackle position, get some more snaps, right? Let's take a look at the turn here. There we go. There's the turn. Nice job, Casper. But Jordan Elliott, I mean, when we thought maybe they're going to go more run oriented, right? Run defense oriented with Javon Hargrave out. But if Jordan Elliott misses any time now with the foot injury that had him removed from practice, obviously that strategy is not going to be in place. So it almost, I don't say it necessitates a trade, but it probably necessitates the 49ers adding somebody to that defensive tackle room, at least through free agency. So we're about 3 minutes away from the ambitious shift. What's going to happen is I'm going to run up into my apartment when I get there, and I'm going to stay online here. So you have to bear with me. As I stay online, the camera's going to go off for a little bit because I don't want anybody to know exactly where I live. That would be sketchy. I'm going to run upstairs. Maybe I could keep the audio on as I run upstairs, and I'm going to plug into the studio. And as soon as we plug into the studio, we're going to have the nice professional camera with the background and everything going. I may have to turn on some of the lighting, so it may take a couple seconds, but this is going to be the most ambitious thing that we've ever done on a live. And what it will give us the opportunity to do is, we're going to be able to to do more on location stuff and then get home and do actual reports. Like teams have cool bars in the city. I just left the New York Giants bar. So if that would have been an epic finish, I could have live streamed the ending for you guys in there. It wasn't an epic finish, but I decided to test this new method out anyway for the stream. So always looking to get more creative with some of these streams, and that's what we're doing right now. As Mike says, let's roll. Mobile live to studio transition live. Yes, that's what we're doing. Any more questions? We've got about a minute before I'm there. Kenneth Lynn wants Richard Sherman to be the defensive coordinator. Rick thinks the 49ers will sign a defensive tackle or trade for one before the deadline. Eric Gomes says hit the like. All right, we're about to make this big transition right now. Yeah, thumbs up for the algorithm. That's the kind of spirit that I like to see in the comment section. Thumbs up for the algorithm.
Almost there. Don't forget your phone, keys, or bag.
Okay, this is the final turn onto the street, and now we will be pulling up very, very shortly. So what I think I'll do as we try to execute this, and you're going to have to bear with me for about a minute, I think we'll turn off the camera and we'll keep the audio on. If we could find a place to drop me off. Yeah, we're almost there. We're navigating our way through some traffic right now. I think we found it. Car's doing its best. All right, we are here. We have made it. Perfect. All right, here we go. I got my house keys. I've got this. I'll keep the camera on to say bye to the driverless car. I hope that we have everything. Yes, we do. There we go. Car is in the rearview mirror. Let's drop this off. I have to walk a few houses, and now the camera is going to go off. All right. So audio only. Transition is happening. I'm sure you guys can still hear me. We've got the keys. Opening the front door. Now we're going to move our way through. Have to get the front door key. All right, we are successfully inside. And you guys do not know where I live. That's great. Now we are getting into the studio. So I'm setting up some of the lighting here. And I think within 20 seconds, I don't want to talk too early, we will have executed the first ever transition from phone mobile stream in a driverless car to the studio. Lighting is on. Door is closed. Computer turning on. Oh no, we need our power on the computer before we get this started. And here we go. Camera, ring light on. This is a lot of pressure right now. This is kind of crazy. But I think it's all going to work out. Entering the studio. Ooh. We're going to have to turn this off.
Look at that. Whew. Is the audio working? Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Most of you hung around too. Didn't see a big drop. We made it. We're in here. I'll get better at that. I'll make that crisper. But I think that, I was a lot smoother doing that than the 49ers were playing football this past weekend. We can say that about me. So I got in safe. The car got me home safe. We made the transition from mobile live to studio live. And now we can talk about Brock Purdy's leadership. I was really, really impressed with Brock Purdy's press conference today. Mike sent some video clips, or at least one of them. We got 2 video clips from Brock Purdy today that I'm saving and I'm about to play up on the screen, where he was talking about the whole Brandon Aiyuk chemistry and the fact that Aiyuk hasn't been all too productive for the 49ers so far this year. And let's just listen to what Brock Purdy had to say before we analyze it, because I do think that his leadership was on very, very impressive display with these comments.
I'm going through my read. Obviously, there was a route that I thought he was going to run, but he felt grass, man, and went and took it. And when we're watching it after, it's like, yes, that's the right thing to do in that moment. For me, I'm going through my read and progression, and I'm concerned about his safety, and then I see him go deep, and I feel like he's open, and I'm like something's not right, in my mind per what we have drawn up. But that's something that, we both have to be on the same page moving forward with. If he has stuff like that happens, and it's not being dumb and just running deep every time, but like actually, there's a reason for why you're going deep. There's some communication stuff that we've talked about where we can take that opportunity. He did the right thing. I have to pull the trigger in that moment and be ready for it. So, something that we had to learn. And in the heat of the moment, that time of the game, situational football, I'm trying to protect the ball, be smart with it, but also be aggressive. And then that happens, and it's like, man, I don't know exactly where the safety's at. So all of those put together, that's what happened in the moment.
So that's Brock Purdy talking about the busted coverage play late, where Brandon Aiyuk was open. Purdy did not go to him, and we saw it on the tape. He saw Brandon Aiyuk, but he got tentative, and he's looking there, and he's like, what's going on? We got the explanation from Shanahan. Now we got it from Brock Purdy. I can concisely summarize for you right now. It was a busted coverage from the Rams, and Brandon Aiyuk was not the first read. Aiyuk was supposed to run a shorter route, but he saw the busted coverage over the top, and he did what he was supposed to do. He ran for green grass. Purdy scanned from his first read to his second read. Aiyuk was not where he was supposed to be originally, but Aiyuk had done the correct thing by improvising. Purdy saw that Aiyuk was open, but he was like, wait, there's got to be a catch here. This can't be too easy. The Rams basically blew the coverage so badly that Brock Purdy was uncertain. He thought that there might be some kind of trick. He's like, wait, where's the safety? Safety's not there. Purdy was in protect the ball mode, as he should have been at that point in the game. And he hesitated, and he decided to move off the read and not throw there. He didn't want to risk throwing an interception. Would the 49ers have rather had Purdy throw the ball to Aiyuk? Of course. Did it happen? No. Does Purdy hit broken coverages usually when they're there? Yes. Does every single quarterback have a 100% success rate in such situations? No, unfortunately, they don't. Purdy still completed a pass after scrambling around on the play. But, pardon my language, shit happens. Doesn't necessarily have to be somebody's fault on the play. Now, you can say that had they been in training camp together, maybe Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk would be in a situation where there'd be a tad more trust in a broken coverage situation, and Purdy might be ready to unleash the football in that direction. But somebody asked Brock about that today, and he said, I just thought that the leadership was on full display from Brock Purdy. Yeah, he could say a lot of things in that situation. He could say, yeah, if we had more practice, maybe things would be a bit better. He said, no, if Jawan Jennings was running the route, I would have missed it too in that situation. He put all of the blame on himself. And to me, you see this constantly from Brock Purdy in situations where it's clearly not his fault. He still shoulders the blame. It's real leadership from Purdy. So Brandon Aiyuk is going to turn things around. as he works his way back into shape, has, and I keep on saying shape. I should say form. We don't know exactly what kind of physical shape Brandon Aiyuk is in. We don't have access to the numbers, the cardio stuff that they're doing. But form is a real thing. There are small, intricate things that you're trying to do on the football field that sometimes, if you haven't been at practice and you have been working with your quarterback to develop that cohesion, the form is going to be off. And Brandon Aiyuk has acknowledged himself that he's not at 100%. He's working back into that form. I think that he will continue working back into that form as the season progresses. Something that will help him work into that form is the belief from his quarterback, from Brock Purdy. The ability to take some arrows for his receiver, as we saw here from Purdy, can help Brandon Aiyuk. You know who else it can help? It can help Ronnie Bell. One of the first people, and probably the most significant person, the most impactful person to walk up to Ronnie Bell after the game on Sunday, which was a disastrous game for Ronnie Bell, was Brock Purdy. Told him to keep his head up, told him to keep pushing forward. Sometimes a young player just needs to know that, and a more important player on the team, a more notable player on the team, has his back. That could be the confidence boost that he needs in a dark time. That's what teamwork is. That's what being a leader at the quarterback position is. So that's what Brock Purdy did the other day. And Ronnie Bell actually credited Brock Purdy for that gesture. Let's hear a little bit more from Brock Purdy, because there was a second quote from the 49ers quarterback.
I would say more like the fluke side of things. I think that slant, I should have been more aggressive and just let him. I think it was just a bad ball. It was behind him. And then there was another short game one. I didn't see the safety rotation, and I'm trying to force it outside, and I should have progressed to juice. So in those two scenarios that I can think of, that's on me. That has nothing to do with Brandon, or our timing or anything like that. So obviously we're still continuing to build that kind of thing, and I am with all my receivers. It's not just him. And so, but those couple examples right there, those are areas for me to grow and be better. And so it just happened to be Brandon in the situation.
So he was asked there about the other situations where it looked like the timing was off with Aiyuk. And that was one, the one I was just talking about. That was a question that Brock Purdy could have easily said, yeah, if we had more training camp together, if Brandon Aiyuk would have shown up earlier, signed the contract that was on the table 3 weeks before the one that he actually signed, maybe that would have gone better. But Purdy doesn't say that kind of stuff. Purdy makes sure that he is taking that high leadership road every time. And I think he's also being honest. I think that he views his game as something that could constantly be improved. That every single instance of a lack of perfection is an opportunity to take a step closer to perfection. And two things can be true at once. You could have been better if Brandon Aiyuk had been at training camp. But even if that is true, and it applies to a specific play where there was a miscommunication, where the 49ers didn't get what they could have gotten out of that play, even if that's true, there probably still is something mechanically on that play that Brock Purdy can do slightly better, could have done slightly better to make the chances of a good result higher. And Purdy is choosing to focus on what he can do better instead of playing the blame game. And I think that type of leadership is subtle, but it's really important, and it's a good example of how Brock Purdy commands the 49ers locker room, on top of the fact that he's playing top-level football for the 49ers. So anyway, we talked about the 49ers and the Patriots being total opposites earlier. The stat that I saw was absolutely staggering. I got to find it I know I talked about it in the Waymo. I got to find it to give you guys the exact word on it. It is 581 passing yards on throws of 10 or more yards for the 49ers, 84 passing yards on throws of 10 or more yards for the Patriots. Absolutely unreal. 49ers at the top of the league, the Patriots at the very bottom of the league. So you've got opposites attracting this weekend at Levi's Stadium. First New England trip to Levi's since 2016, when Tom Brady was their quarterback. Looking here through the Patriots roster, Keon White defensive end, that's somebody who the 49ers definitely have to put a hat on. He's somebody who can rush the quarterback. No more Matthew Judon in New England. He was traded to the Atlanta Falcons. So Keon White, probably the most dangerous player in that front seven for New England. Shout out to Jabril Peppers. I remember covering his college recruitment back in the day. He went to Michigan, but he was the number one recruit in the country way back when. Now he's been in the NFL for a while, formerly with the New York Giants. He's a safety for the New England Patriots. Again, this is not a good defense for New England. Number 27 in defense EPA for the Patriots. So another good chance for the 49ers to get this rolling as a team. Offensively, I think they already are playing well. Of course, you want to minimize the drops and you want to continue to emphasize the good things that are happening. And there are many of them with Brock Purdy and Jordan Mason. But, it's the other side of the ball that I'm going to preview a little bit more deeply in these coming days that is going to be the big question mark for me because, everybody wants to focus on Ronnie Bell dropping passes for the 49ers. It should have never come down to Ronnie Bell having to hold on to a football for the 49ers to beat a bad Rams team. The fact that it didn't come down to that, to me, is the most alarming part. The 49ers should have won that game by multiple possessions. And the reason they didn't is not Ronnie Bell's fault. The reason they did it is the defense's fault, and it's the special teams' fault for the 49ers. They must find a way to improve this defense to at least average caliber, and special teams the same way. Special teams can be bad. They just can't be terrible for the 49ers. Otherwise, the Super Bowl dream is dead on arrival for the 49ers. So you've got to figure out a way to not screw up the game with two major phases. It's not about individual catches or drops or missed reads. There's an over obsession on small details because it makes people feel better to vent, to say, oh, he should have hit Brandon Aiyuk on the busted play. Ronnie Bell should have hit that, caught that pass from Brock Purdy. That's why quarterbacks get irrationally blamed for a lot of stuff in the NFL because of this obsession on small details. But the truth of the matter is that you need to focus on the forest and not the tree. The forest is 49ers are number 28 in run defense. 49ers are number 25 in overall defense. This is by EPA. 49ers are number 30 in special teams. That's the forest. Those are the things that are going wrong for San Francisco that they need to fix on the aggregate, and they need to do it against the New England team that's certainly going to be trying to run the football against them on Sunday. That's how New England has been set up this year. So anyway, that was fun. We got the 49ers update done from the Waymo and now from the studio. Quick run through of everything that happened today. 2 players carted off, but the Christian McCaffrey update, he's going to begin his ramp up soon. That's according to Kyle Shanahan on KMBR. Deebo Samuel and George Kittle are both out at practice, but the 2 players who the 49ers have lost, or at least lost at practice today, Jordan Elliott and Curtis Robinson, the linebacker, the knee. Elliott, they've already lost Javon Hargrave, which is a really, really tough loss from the pass rushing sense. Elliott, more of a run stopper. 49ers probably will have to add a defensive tackle now at some point. We'll see what their next move is. They're already really late in the practice week here before facing the New England Patriots. But that is the latest. I also was at the courthouse today in San Francisco. The latest hearing for the defendant in the Ricky Pearsall shooting, and the trial that keeps on getting pushed back there. Next pretrial conference set for November 12th for the 17-year-old defendant. I emailed the San Francisco district attorney to ask them if they've decided if they're going to try to pursue this case in adult court for the 17-year-old defendant, because that has been probably the biggest question on the public's mind. So I wanted to get an answer from the district attorney, and the office responded to me saying, quote, "No determination on transfer hearing request at this time," end quote. So the San Francisco district attorney has not decided whether or not to charge the defendant in the Ricky Pearsall shooting. He's been charged, by the way, with attempted murder and armed robbery. They have not decided whether to charge him as an adult or a juvenile. Right now, proceedings are happening in juvenile court. Anyway, that's what we have talked about today. I was at the court hearing. I've reported on practice, given you some 49ers intel. Deebo and George Kittle both back. Brock Purdy, the leadership, really on point. He's at the top of the game. He's an elite player, both on and off the field. 49ers and Patriots, total opposite. So I'm going to continue to preview the game with our content tomorrow. So hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you all very soon.